What's happening, people? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we had Dale on.
Hello.
Is that going to change to your
It
face?
should,
Aye, good.
hopefully.
Because otherwise that's just going to sound like there's a
Awkward.
wee creepy guy in the corner going, hello. Today we are talking all about transformation photos. So I've just done my weekly offer. It actually comes out tomorrow, but this is going to be out after then, so I've already fried my head. Basically, it's not really a thing anymore. But I was trying to promote it without ever doing a transformation photo, without showing transformation photos, and me and Dale have very similar outlooks on how to promote your business in the most ethical way that also has a positive impact on people who see it out with your clients, which I'm very big on. Like, I want my marketing not to be just about getting clients, to actually help people who don't ever come on with me as well. So we went full in depth about transformation pictures, the photo shoots, did slag quite a lot of stuff off. Also went through Dale's experience with bodybuilding and how that negatively impacted him, but he learned to be a better coach from it. And yeah, it's a pretty enjoyable episode. We're both decaffeinated. Well, in fact, you're caffeinated.
I'm caffeinated, but it's not working.
Aye. Failed caffeinated and I'm decaffeinated. So took us like 5 minutes to get into it, but then it was a pretty good episode. So enjoy.
Is what you say in your sleep? Sleep's good.
I
Sleep's
may as well confess before we both start that I'm
is a
also
sleepy
usually
podcast.
caffeinated out my fucking tits when I do these, and I haven't. Mate, one coffee.
3 days?
No, a week. One coffee a day for like a week. I've been trying how many
I
times.
thought you started on Monday. You sure?
No, you're fucking off your nut. Nah, I've been. Last Wednesday, I started
it
tracking
then?
how many times I pee in the middle of the night.
And then this is it.
And
The
then
downfall
I've
is-
been on one coffee a day since. Last night, new record. I got up once to pee in the middle of the night. And that's down 700%.
You got a wee thingy? Have you like seen the jail cells? I'd rather say seen the jail cells as if you've fucking been to jail, but in movies, they start mark down the days and stuff like that.
Oh, I've got it on my notes. I don't quite put it on my wall, no.
Jillian tells me, like, she's like, what'd you do during the night? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I heard you get up. And I was like, did I? And then it starts to come slowly back to me that I would go down, I'd be eating food out the fridge, and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot about that.
Do you do the midnight snacking?
I
So I'm well
that
bad
was
for that.
huge. It came from childhood, mate.
I done it in childhood. I've
Sneak
been
about
doing it
the
since I
house.
was 4.
Yeah. So that's so funny you say that, because I said it on mine and James's podcast, and my brother who listens, he's like, I didn't know you'd done that as well. So we lived in the same we lived in the same household, and we'd both be so sneaking about the house to get food from the fridge and take it to our room. I didn't know he was doing it. He didn't know I was doing it. My mum and dad also didn't know we were doing it. That's fucked up. And I always remember a
I
conversation.
wasn't not allowed to do it though. You're not allowed.
It's not even that, because I remember my dad saying to me, he's like, when have I ever said, no, you can't have that? And I was like, yeah, okay. Still snuck about the house eating it. I don't know if it's like internal
You want
shame.
to know what mine was?
What?
One slice of plain bread.
I would do wild shit, mate.
Like nothing that I would eat at any point other in like any other point in the day, but
Aye.
one slice of dry bread, and I think it was just because see if I couldn't get to sleep, I just would be like, I need
Need to do
something. I
something.
need to put something in my mouth.
Oh, it's a mad fucking crack addiction. I don't know what it is, because what's the wildest thing you've had as a midnight snack?
Well, mate, a full cucumber.
Imagine the blinds being on, somebody walking by and looking in your kitchen. You're just,
I'm also, I'll confess, I'm always naked. I've been sleeping naked since I was like 6. So
do you sleep naked?
I still. Why am I talking about that? Like, even every time I'm still living with my dad, obviously, even like when my dad's in, I'll go to the toilet naked, and then if I hear him moving, I absolutely shit myself and run back into the room.
How old are you?
28.
That's so funny. I've never
I've-
been
I've-
like a
I've
naked
al-
sleeper. I don't
It's
know
as
what
if
it is.
I get a buzz out of it. I like the
Adrenaline.
Aye. Oh, he's caught me.
I can just imagine.
He just
your
looks
dad.
at me and goes, right.
Yeah, you okay, son? Yeah.
And he goes, aye, you finished with the toilet? I'm like, aye.
Pee dripping for your fucking penis, just looking at you.
He comes in the toilet when I'm in the bath and all that.
What?
Starts talking to me.
Dad, come on, it's
You know,
fucking me time.
He's done that hundreds of times.
Is
Right? I've been, I do it right. I like a wee bath.
Right.
I
I like a bath, to be
no
fair.
bubbles, like a council bath, just fucking hot water and that's
really?
it straight in. Aye, because
Just watch your own germs.
he'll call me gay. No, he won't actually. I'm kidding on. That's a wee joke. But he'll just like open the door and start asking me something about like, I don't know, just about Celtic or something, and I'll be like that. And he'll go like, "What are you covering that up for?" I'm like, "Cause
It's just know the fit by changing rooms.
this is weird behaviour." And stop trying to talk to me about Celtic when I'm fucking trying to enjoy a bath.
Oh, fuck's sake. Nah, I like a bath as well. I do like a bath. But I put bubbles in mine, I'm proper.
Well, I should put bubbles in because I wouldn't need to put my hands down there if
he's
I had the bubbles
scooping
and he could come in and just take a seat.
Tell
Tell me
I'm trying to
what.
think of like the wildest thing I've ate during the night, but I've done some, like, I've like reflected and went, that was weird behaviour. Like, I've melted chocolate in a bowl and then
What?
crushed up crisps in the bowl with the melted chocolate. Then
Whilst half asleep.
I'm not really half asleep. I'm very aware of what I'm doing at the time, but then I go back to bed just to pretend that never happened. Like, you can push that to the back of your mind. But the remains that's in the bowl, I've then got a wrap or a piece of bread and put it in the bread and just sat and ate it. And I'm like, this is class.
Do you remember those videos I done where I had slagged off PTs like standing behind a load of food?
You had, was that the Kit Kats? It was this
I
and
had
that?
Kit Kats, like timeouts, everything, mate. I spent 20 quid in Co-op just buying hundreds of rubbish.
You know, I was thinking, I bet you ate all that night.
Not that night, over the course of 4 months.
Oh, did you? Through
in
the night?
In the middle of the night. So I put it in a bag, right, next to my bed. And I was like, I'm mentally tough as fuck. That doesn't bother me, that being there. And honestly, for 6 weeks, I never touched it. And then one day, there was no bread downstairs from a midnight snack. And I just took out a Twix or something. And from then, every night, something came out of that bag and in my mouth.
It's crazy, isn't it? I think that's more common though.
The sleeping thing, you're the first person I've met that everyone slags me for it.
No,
I do it in other people's houses and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, see if I stay at someone's house, see if I stay at Michael's house, and I don't really, he knows I'd done it when he lived with me and it was always bread. But like, if I go and stay over at his in Belfast, like, I'm in the cupboards at 2 a.m.
So I can never keep Nutella in the house because I would demolish the jar, right? And I stayed at my friend's once and I knew he had Nutella in the cupboard. I waited till everyone went to sleep and I went in and I started eating it.
Is it an embarrassment thing?
I don't know. I like it. Like, I could always tell the story, but probably was back then when you think about it. Just judgment. It's like, can't believe you done that.
Do you know my dad had the fact he smoked from my mum for 7 years, even though she knew, and she would purposely bring it up, and he got that embarrassed about it that he would never admit to it. She'd caught him broad daylight sometimes. I think they used to work in a pub, and I don't really understand, because for some reason she could see in the toilet in the either she went in to clean the toilets and it was like a communal one, or he was using the work ones or whatever. But I think she could see the cubicle when he was smoking in the toilet, and he flicked it out the cubicle and out the window. I can't remember the toilet, so I don't know if she was perving on him in the toilet or whatever. But she seen him flick his fag out, and she would come out and go, or he would come out and she'd go, how was your fag? And he'd go, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she went to, there was a garage 5 minutes down the road, and she never really went to it, and she was with me one time, I think, down there. And the owner was talking to her, and he was like, oh, what do you do? And she was like, oh, I work in the pub down there, I run it. And he'd be like, I know your husband, 20 Richmond Super King every day. That's not racist, because he was Indian.
That's mental, isn't it? Like, how you keep all that sort of stuff. My stepmom had that she smoked from her mum and dad, who to this day, I think they know now, but I remember, like, for like 15, 20 years, she's had that they smoked, but her sister smokes. So, like, my step gran and granddad, they knew like their oldest daughter smoked, but thought that my stepmom, the youngest, she's like, no, she's golden child. But my stepmom used to go outside in the back when they were at our house, smoke, but hide it. And that went on for so long. And it wasn't until she had my stepbrother that she stopped for a wee while. I don't know if she still smokes, actually.
They must have known.
No, they never. She managed to keep it a secret.
Because like, so my dad started doing it again. He had a heart attack when I was 15, and he stopped. Then he started again when I was like 18 or 19, and I was living with him, and I could smell it in the house. He was doing it in the attic, out the window, but I could smell it off him, and I could smell a tiny bit of smoke. And you can smell it off clothes and all that. Like, I don't know how people can cover it up, because I knew straight away, and I was too much of a shite bag to bring it up to him, so I brought it up to him after 10 pints.
Did your mum and dad, or did your dad ever smoke in the car? Like hotbox the car?
My dad would. My mum never smoked, but my dad would have smoked in the car.
That was my mum. Do you remember the Ford car? So you didn't have back windows, but they had the back window that pops out. You know what I'm talking about? That was the car we had with my mum, and I just remember my mum saying, and I'm like, making it very apparent that I'm fucking dying here.
Second-hand smoke's a fucking thing, isn't it?
So that put me off smoking, but weirdly enough, my brother smokes.
Yeah.
I went through a rebellion route and just went for it.
I smoked all the way through.
Oh, did you?
No, but when I was out.
Oh, right, did you?
Just when I was out, yeah. Man, I never once got addicted. But I do think I also didn't really do enough, because I would buy like 20 fags, and I would just go in the social area, like the smoking area outside, and I think I would honestly smoke like 1.5, and I would give 19 away. Do you know what I mean?
Just to talk to people and like interact.
I just don't know, but I think it was also because I hated clubs so much. I liked being out, and I liked talking to people, and I liked drinking at the time.
That makes sense.
But I hated nothing worse. Nothing gives me the fear more than Sean Paul.
What was song? Temperature? Burning?
Whatever.
Sean Paul. Living in
what's the one? It was
always like go-to.
What was that song? I don't know any of the words.
Did you get caught up in vapes in that then? Or have you managed to stay away with that? James is obsessed with them. Like, that's his. So not day to day, but see, when he was going on holiday, he was like, I'm not drinking, but I can't wait to have a wee vape. I'm like, huh? You're fucking weirdo.
I don't get the vaping thing, mate. My brain can't process. I get it's an addiction, but I don't get how you start. And I know plenty of people from working in hospital that have picked up vaping that didn't smoke. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? What the fuck is that?
My mate Sam's like that. He slags Nicola, so see Nicola and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
He slags Nicola from smoking vapes all the time, and then when he's had a drink, he's like, "I'll give you a shot of that." I'm like,
I've took 2 puffs of them, and I've nearly coughed my lungs up both times. I can't even take a puff of it.
That definitely will be one of those things that we look back in 10 years and go, the fuck were we thinking?
Documentaries, 10 years time.
Yeah, I think there's one on Netflix just now.
They're all going to get sued and all. You'll see how much people have made a shit ton of money about it from it. It's mad how it just goes in cycles into it. It's just something new, but it's the same shit.
And
it's the same companies. Just an absolute shit show that try to fuck you up and make loads of money.
Mad and
typical. Right, we'll get into the topic, shall we? That's what I originally wanted to talk about. Transformation photos, because I've been trying to figure out ways to promote coaching without doing transformation photos, and I think it is really a fallacy that you can't promote your program or your business or your coaching without them. I think there's loads of things that just like, see, even the way people do like a weekly check-in, or like you were saying the other day, progress pictures every week or every 2 weeks, and measurements every like week or every 2 weeks. I think these are just ways that they maybe started coaching 10 years ago when it was a new thing to like get people to track stuff online. And it's just ingrained, and no one's went, here, why are we doing it like that? Yeah,
so the first time I ever worked with a coach, I think you were the same. It was like, send me weekly pictures and fill out this form. And we were talking about 10 years ago. It's not that long, sorry. 7 years ago. I just thought that's what coaches do. Now, weirdly enough, I managed to get a lot of maturity before becoming a coach, and I think I'll forever be grateful at delaying coming into the coaching space and not doing it off the back of that coaching experience, because I could have easily went, right, I done 2 hours of cardio in the last 3 weeks on the lead up to my show and I was shredded. Everybody else needs to do that. So I'm very grateful I never went down that, but this was for bodybuilding, so it was weird. It was weird if it kind of fucks you up a lot. I think we were speaking about this yesterday. Like you're taking pictures, you're like, man, I fucking hate this. Like don't get me wrong, the first couple I was excited to see how my shape would change. And I think as I was being very strict and restrictive, everything was all revolved around looks because I was competing in a fucking physical show. I was excited to see that change, but see when that was going, I was like, man, fuck me. I'm mentally damaged for this.
The post-show?
Post-show, yeah. Because I was so... It wasn't just transformation pictures, but it was the attention that I was getting on social media. So I'd post a picture and I'd be shredded compared to everyone else that knew me from high sleazy. And I'm like, fucking hell, look at Size of Dale. So gets a lot of engagement, a lot of likes. You know, try and post again, try and find the good lighting. As you get more and more leaner, more pictures. And then after the show, again, posting. But the more you post, the less engagement you get. It's like the hype at the start. And I was like, fuck, am I not big enough anymore? And I remember I've got so many pictures in my prep, and I remember my mentality saying to myself, you're not big enough, you fucked this because you ate that chocolate through the night that you binged. That's a whole other story. But but what I did like was when the transformation picture went up of me in my before and after, I was like, look at that, fucking hundreds of people sharing it and liking it and that, and don't get me wrong, it was a fucking crazy.
Do you think that was an
transformation.
overall positive thing for you or an overall negative thing?
Positive in the sense it made me a better coach. Negative in the sense if I
Made you a
didn't do
better
anything
coach in what way?
to go, that I can now speak firsthand about what that done to my mental health.
But made you a better coach in the way that you seen what
how
negative it was.
So to me at the time I didn't realise it was negative until a year after, because my body shape's obviously changing. I'm not training as much. I'm not being as strict with my food. I'm enjoying.
The guy still benches 150 kilos.
No, but in sense of like, I moved to like training 3 days a week, enjoying life a wee bit more, going out date nights and seeing friends, drinking alcohol, and my identity was so fixed on not even how I looked at the stage, it was the transformation picture. And I was like, if people see me in person and I'm not as shredded as that, I ain't going to be confident. So secretly that was all playing in my health. So but very quickly I managed to change up my training style and focus on movement patterns and get good at squatting and deadlifting. So I fell in love with all those movements. We just took it away from training for looks.
What do you think really done it for you? Because I'd love to, I've only known you for like over a year now, and you're obviously the opposite of that. I would love to have met you then. I still think I'd go on with you because you're not going to be a different person, but just like your mentality to that sort of thing, because that's a complete like 360. And I think people fall into that trap for ages. I always have this thing when coaches argue with me over these sort of things. Like, I get why they do it, but I also think they can't like take a bird's eye view and see why they're actually doing it, and they convince themselves that it's a net, because you did get a positive experience at the time from your transformation picture being shared, but then after it, it's negative.
What is it? Was it for?
So they only think about, but it's positive when, like, and also when you share a client's transformation, they have done well, and it's a side-by-side photo and they're quite happy, they'll feel positive about that at the time. And there's not really a problem when I've shared it, because I've not dieted people down to things where they're going to rebound and stuff. But if you've dieted someone down like fuck and they're going to rebound, it's going to be negative after. Like, they're going to feel negative about that after.
Yeah, it's hard. I honestly couldn't pinpoint it to any one thing, but on the transformation pictures itself, like if you look at what I wasn't even a coach then, what that done for me as a non-fitness PT, people were asking me, can you train me? Can you give me a training routine? And that's where I started to like, yeah, I can do that easy. I'll never forget some of the training plans I wrote for like pals at work. Is you at the gym? Yeah, no, you're not going to the gym, but you're going to sign up to one. Okay, right, Lauren, let's train legs on Monday. Let's do chest and shoulders on Tuesday. Let's have an arm day on Wednesday. And poor fucking Lauren's no...
Is that recording, by the way?
Aye, it's down the bottom. It's just, it looks different for that one. That's why I looked at it earlier.
Right, anyway,
so,
Lauren.
Poor girl who was was obviously just looking for a wee bit of guidance. But then the weird thing about this whole scenario is, as the consumer, as people, we're attracted to the transformation pictures, and that's where as a coach we can fall into the trap of going, do I need to post this to get more clients, or do I need to post this? And I'm so far beyond that I don't think I've never posted a transformation picture other than myself. You probably have to go back a couple of years before you've seen one, but it's been a long time since I've posted a picture with my top off and on my feed.
Right, we'll get into like maybe sort of strategies to promote business without doing that, but I still want to go into more transformation photos, like the actual impact it has when people do it. Now, I told you about this yesterday, but I would just want to throw this into the discussion. That message I got, because I put up stories about it yesterday, and people were telling me about maybe their experiences, and I think she listens to the podcast sometimes. But basically, one of the people that listens to the podcast, I won't name her, she done coaching with someone, and I remember seeing her post the progress pictures, typical fucking in a gym, spray tanned out on that, professional photographer, contrast, fucking
saturation
through the contrast and saturation through the roof, fucking big lights on her, all the usual type of stuff. And she posted all the pictures, and I remember seeing when I done coaching with Tony, and I had fully told people, because when I done like my experience with getting shredded or something, and I actually just said who the coach was, because you can go and work it out, it's not that hard. But Tony dieted me far too much, and it was so pointless. But I remember feeling obliged to post the picture, to like, I'd put 18 weeks of starving myself, and I was like, I don't really feel right about this, but I feel like I'm obliged to do it. Not even to, it wasn't really even to promote his business, but I'm just like, I feel like I need to show people how I've just fucking done nothing for 18 weeks to look like this.
Yeah. Thing is, as soon as you say at the start of that journey, as soon as you post that on social media, you're like, you almost feel obliged to like update your journey, because you don't want to be, that's another thing as well. That's why people say, like, the accountability fitness pages and all that sort of stuff, people's like posting this to make sure that I stick out with the plan and all that sort of stuff. And on one hand, it can be a good driver for motivation and that sort of stuff, but on the other hand, it can be very toxic, because you get the likes initially, you get, oh, well done, you're fucking looking after yourself. But if that's all you post about, it loses the hype. And as it loses the hype, it messes with your mentality a wee bit.
That does work, and I found it negative with doing, maybe posting about the cut and stuff. I found it negative, but I done it for my sub 25k when it was only positive.
Yeah.
Like, it made me do all the runs and all that.
So that's what I mean. It can be and this is where my experience going through taking pictures every week to send to my coach. I knew I was taking a picture on that Sunday. So there was little inclination or little pockets throughout the day where I'm like, man, I could just fucking go and have a burger just now, or I could eat more food than what I was planned. That would always keep me guided in. Now, my purpose for getting lean wasn't just to get lean. I had been lean, and then I'd put on a good bit of mass, and then I also just took the bulk beyond bulk, if you want to call it that.
Done that.
And I had all these little pockets throughout the day where I was like, man, I could really eat more than this. Now I've got my check-in picture on a Sunday, cool. And then that would keep me driven towards not going off plan. But then as food get more restrictive, the cravings came up more, and I ended up binging in some occasions and really fucking up. As much as I was shredded and lean, and compared to the average person, you would go, fucking hell, how can you say you're not good enough if you're comparing it based on looks? So
anyway, that girl, I forgot to mention, she told me that when she joined coaching, that was a typical coach who posts all these type of transformation pictures. The two coaches I've used both have been primarily photo shoot sort of coaches. That's why I'm so heavily invested in talking about this, because I do feel like that's half the industry.
And more.
You reckon, that type of coaching? I think it's definitely leveling out more. But
oh, really? You think so?
I think there's more people. I don't think it's 50-50, but I think more people that have the approach me and you have is rising. I think James Smith has been probably the main driver behind that. I feel like there's been a lot more people that have started coaching from that type of mindset. And not that I agree with, but I agree with like 85-90% of what James Smith says, which for a coach is a lot. That's a high amount to agree with someone. But anyway, she was like, I'm not doing a photo shoot, but she wanted the coaching. And then 4 months in or 5 months in, she went through a breakup. Same thing that happened to me when I went through a breakup. Appetite goes because anxiety's through the roof. You can't really get, like, I physically couldn't get calories in just because I was so anxious about, and you're basically grieving and whatever. And she lost a bit of weight from that, and he's like, now's the perfect time to do a photo shoot, was his words. And also it's like, now it's time. And this is just a way I like making it sound like it's a positive thing, which is what they do. He was like, now that you've broke up with someone, it's time to try new things and challenge yourself, which is the right thing to do for someone going through a breakup, but not in a photo shoot. When to take advantage of you losing 3 or 4 kilos of stress weight purely because you can't eat because your mental health is on the floor.
Yeah. And that's what is usually from vulnerable people that end up getting caught up in the mix of this. Do you think inherently there's any good to photo shoots? Or not photo shoots, transformation pictures.
Transformation pictures. Yeah. So I think now I'm gonna change my approach a wee bit because I think I have like I don't do a check-in as such, but I have an update of like it's basically a check-in, but I don't like do a 3-minute video on it because I speak to most of my clients most days and I am checking in with them. Like I'll go through everything before the check-in, but it's just to see where everything's at. And I've done that, but I do like progress pictures every 4 weeks, measurements every 2 weeks, but I never ever chase people up on it and like make 20% of them do them on those days. Do you get what I mean? But I'm gonna change that so that it's just like, because what I find is with progress pictures, I find the ones who take the first one do tend to stay a bit more accountable. But I don't need them to take pictures again until they maybe go, here, I'm not making any progress, but I can see with their lifts and they've told me their clothes are changing a wee bit. I would maybe then go, here, take some progress pictures again just so you can see the difference. But I'm talking like 6 months down the line, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think taking pictures from where your physical appearance is before you do anything with your health and fitness journey, it's a powerful tool of measurement because that weight in the scales might be more. So that's also a powerful tool. You combine that with pictures, you combine that with measurements, you combine that with lifts. That's the recipe of a great blend of resources. So I did actually used to kind of bash transformation pictures a lot more until we've had some coaches on our podcast, and most coaches that we meet, they're big on transformation. It's the number one marketing tool for coaches. So it's always good kind of picking their brains and understanding how they view it without being biased because they kind of know our opinion. And one of my good friends he has some fantastic transformations, but he's like, look, this wasn't 8 weeks, wasn't 12 weeks, this was 2 years. And yeah, like he wasn't happy in himself, but he's made and I think the celebration of where your physique is came from can be a grey area, but done in the right way, it can be done. But still, to me, I actually don't find it. I can absolutely support it. I'm always the first to comment on some of the coaches I used to work with in Gym 24, and when I see someone that I used to know, I'm like, fucking well done, mate, look incredible. But I just think if people got into fitness because they wanted to look better, more people would be working out. And I feel in fact, it comes back to one conversation I had with a client, and I was getting shredding for the wedding. I called it, right? # shredding for the wedding, right? I was working in a gym.
And this is only like 2 years ago, isn't it?
Started last year, yeah. So I was in strongest I've ever been. I was in great shape. I was taking spin classes 2 a week, so I was relatively lean as well. And I threw up the picture and I was like, 10 weeks to my wedding, going to document this journey. I just wanted a wee bit of hype and a wee bit of traction. I was like, here's my current condition. Feeling good, feeling strong, I think I was eating north of 3,500-4,000 calories. And I was sitting lean, pretty happy with my physical appearance and my mentality.
And I've seen these pictures, you were fucking looked ridiculous.
So I was in good space, right? And then in my head, I'm like, right, I need to get more shredded. And one of my clients came to me who was just started working with her, and she fell into the morbidly obese category, and she's like, can I talk to you about that picture? And I was like, I am open book, let me hear it. She's like, why do you post that sort of stuff? And I was like, I don't know, I just want to document my journey that I'm lean and I'm eating all these calories, and if I had to get leaner, then this is what I would do. And then she was like, but why? And it was like the first time like somebody held the mirror up to me, and I was like, hey, you're right, my energy's good. Fucking, I feel cognitively sharp. My sleep's good. I'm eating great food. I was like, you're right. Like, what's the point in getting leaner? Because that was my old bodybuilding self that was coming out of me a wee bit. And then here was a lady that was saying to me, because I was like, what in all honesty, what does that do to you as a client that's trying to work on their health and fitness? And she said something, I can't remember word for word, but it was something along the lines of, I look at that picture and I'm like, fucking hell, he's in incredible shape. I'm never going to be in that. But then he's also not happy with his physique. So what's the point in that? And I was like, you're right. I'm actually not getting the right message. And I think if you go back in my feed, that'll be the last picture that you'll see of me with purposely posing with my top up, other than pictures on the beach when I'm on holiday, right? That's the last picture on my grid that you'll be able to go back and see. And for that day forward, that really instilled and changed the way that I'm like, you know what? It's no physical appearance. That's not why I train people. I train people to show them the better part of life. And people who aren't getting into health and fitness, like transformation pictures, yeah, they might look cool and they might encourage some people, but we've got more gyms than ever. We've got more information than ever, yet we've still got more health issues than ever because people aren't working out, and it's because they think that that's health and fitness, and it's not.
So you just brung up a few things in my head that it's just making me think a bit differently. I've always said I'm a thought man.
Thought man?
Like
T-H-O-T? Thought?
I'm full of thoughts. Anyway, do you think potentially, say the type of content you put out, and you do put out transformation photos, and the type of clients you get from those type of photos, do you think that reinforces the way you think about things? Because surely like the way clients have communicated with me has changed the way I make content. Because I have noticed that, mate, see in the first 2 years, so this is I'm 3.5 years into coaching or whatever, I have noticed the last sort of 6 months, I get clients that just are like willing to do, and like they're willing to like lift, and they don't really want progress pictures. And that probably comes from the way I'm presenting things now, because I do go way more in depth, and I don't talk about weight loss and stuff. So maybe the way that they are doing transformations, then they do transformations with other people, then they all think that this is this positive experience, like you probably did. You probably messaged your coach after he posted that saying, I feel amazing, everyone's liking it, I'm getting all these comments, thank you so much. You probably did, didn't you? Because that's
and I also was like as I'm thinking, I'm riding the hype. I'm all energized because it's
your
false
coach
validation.
probably goes, look, I've
hits.
just changed that boy's life because I've got him shredded. But that's just in the moment, the validation from social media. This is what I don't know how to get people to understand, or get coaches to understand. Yes, because I've seen so many coaches recently that have went, fuck it, I'm just going to start taking my top off, and it being all about how I look getting big and getting shredded because that'll make me more money. And they just don't get what I mean. Do you know what I mean? They can't fathom what I'm talking about. I'm like, I genuinely believe, for the greater good of trying to get people in the gym, that is net negative. And yes, you might get people saying, oh, I put on, or I lost 20 pounds because of your advice. But that person might not stay in the gym, and they're closer to like the more type of like disordered eating approach, rather than someone that's going in the gym to feel better.
I think it definitely depends on the person. It's all person dependent. Some people can do really well with challenges for 8-week challenges, 12-week challenges, and this was the sort of feedback or the opposing argument when we brought it up with someone on our podcast, and it was like, well, people who think like my client, for example, that's more of an indication on them. For me, I like how I look, and I like to share my updates and my journey, but this is somebody heavily involved in bodybuilding. So I think everyone's just going to have a different view with it. But
the people that are heavily involved in bodybuilding don't need fucking help on social media about how to lift in the gym.
Yeah, but then that attracts people who want to physically transform the way that they look and then it becomes so fixated on that. So I don't know, I always seen that the type of coaches would have a higher churn of business, because it's all about, I'm going to get you in the best shape as quick as possible in 8 to 12 weeks. And in all honesty, it's not really a lot of time to get somebody to change how they look physically, depending on where they come from, because that's a short space of time. You need to cut a few corners, you need to play into the whole fucking move more, eat less, and you're like, cool, as a coach, I've got what I need, I've got a nice wee transformation. How are you doing? Oh yeah, I feel great, I've never looked like this, brilliant, right, off you go, on to the next person. So it's like this high churn of like transformation, and that's what I never really liked about that model, because I was like, well, why am I getting into this space? I want to be the last coach anyone has to work with, and in a sense, if I have that frame of mind, then that allows me to instill these long-term sustainable habits, and you don't do that in a transformation picture within 12 weeks. Now, I've got fantastic before and after pictures with clients, and I say to them, look, if you feel good, you can post them. I'll share it, absolutely, but you'll never see me on my feed going, here's before and after of such and such, because I think even when I've seen it doing that, nobody really cares. They just look at the picture and they're like, the other thing as well, you look at the before picture for a lot of these people and you're like, they're in okay shape, right? They're in okay shape. They went from okay shape to lost all their muscle and look lean.
This is the thing that makes me angry as well.
And I think there's categories to transformation pictures, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I've preferred to show the ones that, like, not to be crude, the heavier people, right? Because to me, that's more impressive. Someone who is maybe obese or morbidly obese and they've lost like 20 kilos, because if you look at it from a health marker standpoint, they're the ones that have made the biggest impact to their life, and they were the ones that probably needed the help more than anyone. Were in the physically and mentally worst place possible, and they've improved the most. If you look at metrics that you can't really measure to the naked eye about how they look, it would be about doing blood markers and stuff, and you've actually fucking helped them. But the thing is, they are someone who is, say, 100, just say you get a 130 kilo guy and they get down to 105 kilos or whatever over the space of 2 years, they got a good bit stronger. Their transformation picture isn't going to look that impressive.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really, because the leaner you are, the more you can see fat loss. So like if you're only a stone heavier, if you lose that stone and get down to like whatever quote unquote lean, that's going to look there's going to be way more visible changes than someone who loses a stone who has 5 stone to lose. But their health markers, like the actual difference, the one who gets lean might actually go the other way. They might actually be unhealthier.
That's what happened to me.
So it's like you can't,
you're glorifying the wrong thing.
Yeah, and you can't show just how much of a difference someone who's maybe really obese and has got to the overweight range, but that's ridiculously changed their life. They can do things like maybe reverse diabetes and stuff like that in exceptional scenarios. Obviously, I'm not saying that for everyone, but that's the thing that's way more impressive, and it's much harder to show, but those are the ones that I'm trying to show. So Sarah, the one I shared the other day, she's like 28 kilos down, and I'm not gonna lie, when Sarah first came on, so I was borderline like, have you ever had an eating disorder? And then she was like, nah. And you know, this is why I can never ever, there is certain red flags where someone tells me like, I drink every night and I'm an alcoholic, I'm like, right, I'm not working with you. But it's very hard to pinpoint what a client's going to be like. Like you can, there is obviously red flags. You go, not touching that person, absolutely not. But sometimes you look at like someone's like history, maybe like stuff they've tried before, and go, I don't know if I can help them. And then you just go, fuck it, do you know what? I'm going to try it, because I'm going to try this different strategy that I haven't really used. And Sarah might be listening to this, she might not, but I remember taking her on and going, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help her, just because the way she'd put on weight and how fast she'd done it. I was like, I don't know if that might be an eating disorder. But she said it wasn't. And when I talked to her, she seemed chilled out and normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was like hitting me back and forth with just logical, normal answers. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take her on. And she's 28 kilos down. and ridiculously stronger. And I wanted to showcase that.
Yeah.
And I did that with the lifts that I shown, because she went from dumbbell Romanian deadlifting where she could fucking barely move an inch, and then she deadlifted 120 kilos out there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that to me, I don't care if you're new into the space or not, but I always looking at it, I was like, that's sexy. That's more sexier than these transformation pictures.
Because I don't see many people showing stuff like that.
No, I know. And it's hard because it'll never maybe get as much attention.
It did, by the way, it did actually do really well. But I
will.
did put a
To
lot
your
of effort
audience,
to making it. Do you know what I mean? I like thought about everything, whereas people just throw up two pictures side by side.
There is a shift because people want more. I was actually having this conversation with a client this morning. She's over 60 and she says there's definitely, I would say, people over the age of 50, particularly women, are more focused on their health because they're going through menopause, their hormones are, they just want to feel good. They don't care how they look because their bodies are changing. And I think it's quite good that if that's the kind of demand that people are crying out for, as soon as you throw that picture or as soon as you throw that post up where you're talking about the journey and there is other benefits out with just a physical appearance, people will latch on to that more and that will become a snowball effect the more that you do it. But it's just one of them, isn't it? I think transformation pictures, inherently, I don't think it's overall a bad thing. I think it's just for a specific type of audience that can go into it. Because if you get shredded and you can go about it, depending on how you go about it, you feel good because you're feeling yourself and you're like, yeah, I feel fucking great. But if it's all based around this very subjective day where you get a photo shoot taken and then that becomes your new identity, and then every year it's a very toxic relationship, big weight gain, sharp weight loss, big weight gain, sharp weight loss, and you start messing up your fucking hormones, you start messing up your relationships in general with people and food. It's not just the food side of things, it just becomes very toxic.
Do you think there's any positives to photo shoots? Because I've had a few coaches try explain to me why they do photo shoots and why and as soon as you have to go above and beyond to explain why it's positive and it's not just clear as day, I'm like,
I like hearing the argument.
Yeah,
I do like hearing the opposing because I'm always like, nah, still don't agree with you.
still like, nah, you're just convincing yourself.
Now, I've seen a couple of photo shoots done, which I think they do it really well, and it's like empowerment side of things of regardless of your shape, we're taking a picture. You've been working in this program for 6 months and you can do this, but a picture doesn't quite capture the main benefits from working with someone for 6 months, because in a picture you can't really portray your energy, if your hormones are changed, how strong you got, how good you're feeling, how good your digestion is, your stress management. It's just a picture is your appearance. But then again, social media is quite very appearance based, so I think everyone does kind of seek that fucking good picture of them, like, oh, that's a nice wee filter and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know, like, I think photo shoots, why take a picture when you've, and I know the word is starved, and I know not a lot of people starve themselves, but they do very drastic things to get as lean as possible for a tiny wee snapshot, and then they never look like that. They don't even look like that the same day. As soon as the picture's taken, it's like, right, fuck, refeed. Oh man, it feels so much better. So like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, I can't wrap my head around that, and I don't know if that's just because my experience around it. And I was like, right.
Well,
cool.
that coaching with Tony, the last 12 out of the 18 weeks, 12 weeks was genuinely just avoiding food. And I'm so lucky that I was about 26 when I done that, and I didn't even care. Like, I didn't. That's what I mean. Well, loads of it is like, he's a bodybuilding coach, but I think people still fault people who aren't as into bodybuilding. So like, in a way, that was kind of like my fault that I knew what I was getting into. So you have to take ownership for that. But I think some people, they don't know what they're getting into. People that are more naive. Like, I was a coach myself already, but people who are just like seeing these transformations don't really know what they're getting themselves into. Yeah. And I would say, not being funny, 80% of what I done with Tony was forced upon me. It wasn't my goal to get to 72 kilos. That's how much I weighed, and I'm 87 just now. Mate, I was a twig. Yeah. I lost all my strength. I was very close to getting signs of having an eating disorder, because I was I was actually being like nauseous when I was touching some of the same foods I'd been eating for like the last 10 weeks. So heck sausages, if you put one of them in my mouth, I would have vomited everywhere. Broccoli and frozen veg, all of them, cucumbers as well. I'm back on the cucumbers finally, like all that. But mate, they were, and I'd not too sure on eating disorders, but it felt like some sort of like
unhealthy relationship for sure.
What was in it was become, but I did have enough of an awareness that I also didn't care about how I looked or anything, and I was just doing it because it was like, I asked him for diet breaks and he said nah. Do you know what I mean? And I told him at one point I'm moving to London, and I'm going to be looking for houses for 2 weeks. I can't cook. I'm staying in I'm staying in the same bed as my best mate who's going to be drinking quite a lot. And he was like, nah, no diet break. And I was like, well, I'm just not. And I never I just did diet break myself. I was like, mate, I can't eat 1,800 calories and move all my full life to on a train for 5 hours. And like, but I don't know the symptoms of an eating disorder, but it was like uncontrollable nausea. Do you know what I mean? Which to me sounds not right.
Normal. Definitely not normal.
Not right.
See, the weird thing about getting in shape, and this is where it's glorified in a photo shoot, because whether you were like, you know what, I'm feeling great, I'm going to take a picture of this so I can look back at this in 10 years' time and go, I remember looking my best, feeling my best, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you put a date on that photo shoot and you're working up to it, whether you believe it or not, but you're psychologically going to start going, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm a wee bit leaner, get a pump before my muscles look bigger. Chasing the pump's one of the fucking maddest things in life, because you are a different person when you leave that gym. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, and then you catch your reflection later on that night. You're like, who the fuck is that guy? I was massive there this morning.
You're in Poundland picking up dog food and go.
I just think that there is, as soon as if you're chasing purely aesthetics, there's nothing wrong with being in the best physical condition, but you need to pair that with other behaviours like feeling strong, having great energy, great sleep, just eating good food, like just feeling overall great. You probably had elements of that when you're going through a strength phase. I know I had that in the lead up to my wedding.
I feel like that just now.
I was like, you know what? Somebody may look at this and go, but he looks way better than you. They might look better because you're comparing what 12% body fat is compared to somebody who's 6% body fat. But here's the fucking thing, folks. 6% body fat is not healthy. It's not worth the trade-off. So you're saying about the transformation picture. I could put up in fact, I'll send it to you, the one that I coached my before and after. And I've got a client just now, she lost 22 kilo. And she took pictures, I think she updated them like 7 months apart. And she's like, man, I've seen a big difference. And I could tell that, like, when she was talking about it, I was like, are you proud? And she's like, yeah, I just thought it would look better. And I was like, are you comparing the pictures compared to all these other transformation pictures? She's like, yeah, kind of. And I goes, right. To me, that's where I was like, fuck, that's not actually helping people. Because these amazing transformation pictures that you see, like, so if you compare mine to hers, for example, mine looks more impressive. Arguably, hers is, in fact, it's not arguably. It fucking is way impressive, because by the end of that, she is more energy. She's got a very good habitual routine that she can enjoy time with her dog and her family, and she's better at work. She's got promotions in work, and she's got a good understanding of food. She doesn't binge and all this sort of stuff. She feels good. She feels strong. Hormonally, she's good. Me, hormonally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to make you do, right?
I'm fucked.
Let's break down. So I'll just start, because you'll know better than me, right? So when you've went from X to the lean stage,
my picture, so my picture wins 1-0, right, in that sense, right?
Right, yeah, the picture wins, mm-hmm. Right? We'll start with your eating is more disordered.
Mate, I made myself sick. As soon as my show was finished, I had a gallon of milk, I think I had 4 Krispy Kreme donuts and a full tub of Nutella, and I had to get Gillian to stop the car, and I was like, what the fuck? Because it's enhanced. You finish a show backstage on a bodybuilding show, they've got unlimited pizza and cookies and cake for you. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, so that's when I realised I thought that was health, and that was my first understanding. And I'm holding my belly, I'm like, I feel so shit. And I look back at it, I'm like, duh. Like, fucking idiot. Like, of course you look shit. Like of course you feel shit. So when it comes to food side of things,
let's talk about your energy and that as well. So our energy went up, routine was better, better relationship with food, etc. But you talk about like what, like
So I was
take 10 elements.
Aye, so let's talk about like dehydration. I was taking dandelion tablets so it dries your water out, makes your veins more vascular, all these sort of things. I think I was allowed 500 ml of water 5 days before my show, and then the last 2 days it was literally like, you can have water but try and keep it less than that bottle type of thing, right? So it was like sips of water. So I was so like, you had no energy. I'm like, I'm just gonna lie on the couch today, and I'm like, fuck man, I need to get that workout in. So I was dragging myself, but it's so selfish as well. Now compare that to her journey. She's eaten more food than she's ever done in a cup before because she's properly strength trained, got her metabolism in a healthy place, wants to have a date night where man, she goes out and has a date night. Jillian says to me in my journey, well, I got a date. No, I need to be selfish. I've got a show. I need to look. No. So I'm snappy. Our relationship didn't take a hit. Like, she supported me massively through this, but it's extremely selfish of me. We had engagement parties and everything, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, had my meals prepped in the house, and I'm like, nah, can I do it? And people try to speak to me, and I'm like, can you just shut up, because I'm absolutely starving, and I'm going to go over to that sweetie table and demolish it. So there's so many things you can compare it to. Me massively, it's different guys to girls, but me, like, sex drive, none. Morning fucking wood, gone. Like, probably for the last 6 weeks, when you think about it, because of how, well, maybe that's a lie. I think you had the elements where I was like, oh, my energy's good today. I could tell I had a good night's sleep because I woke up with fucking erection. And then most of the time I'm like, man, I'm just so, I can tell my test levels are flat. And then the stress, so I've spoke about my back acne as well. So the stress in my body, I was so stressed about my physique, the way that kind of comes out of me, I break out. So I've pieced that together over the years. If I was stressed at the manager job I was doing, I'd break out in all these spots. So skin was terrible. I look good for a picture. It's not worth the trade-off, man. Not worth the trade-off.
Not worth it at all. Now, the only other thing I really want to cover, right? So coaches' arguments to me when they talk about photo shoots, right, is we're empowering, not empowering in the same sense. I quite like the idea of I would quite like the idea of my clients maybe getting a few pictures in here lifting, not fucking tanned, but a wee picture lifting. They don't need to post it or anything, but I wouldn't get them to do it, by the way. I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't do that, but I can see the value in it, like where you're at. I also tell people that are like maybe nervous of going on holiday to wear a bikini, and they've maybe been on me for 6 months. I might just wear the bikini. So
that's one of the more powerful messages you get for a client, isn't it? And they're like, I actually feel comfortable in my swimwear or whatever, right?
Some of them will go and they'll be like, do you know what? I didn't feel like I had made enough progress yet to wear this, but you told me to wear it, and I just went, nobody cares.
Yeah, so that's where I think, like, not forcing, it's hard. It has to be very delicate, like put in a situation where your client doesn't like getting pictures taken on, but put them in a scenario and go, look, you look incredible. You should be proud of the work that you've put in. Like, this is you, and you need to accept who you are, because I think mentally what we see in the mirror, we're always our biggest fucking critique. So that same client I'm talking about went to New York last year and never took any pictures of herself, and she's like, the biggest regret I had last year going to New York, I never took enough pictures of myself because I wasn't happy in how I looked. Since working with me, just came back from New York, and she's like, took tons of pictures. I was like, fucking well done, you. She's feeling herself in
Disneyland
that.
As well. She just texted me saying, I'm taking hundreds of pictures. I'll never do this.
So that to me, so how do you bridge the gap between, because also a transformation picture, just chasing that on its own, isn't going to get that sort of stuff. It might be the same outcome, but there's not the other trade-offs of energy and that sort of stuff.
Here's the thing that the point I'm trying to make. It has to be for you, not for anyone else. Yeah. So see, when it's about this picture, right? A photo shoot picture, and they're like, yeah, but it's for them to showcase how much progress they've made. But when you break that down, it's for them to seek validation from others on social media. And I can't really think of any scenario where seeking validation is a positive, like on your mental health anyway, or on your mental well-being. I can't really think of any validation seeking behavior that will be positive for you. I can think of many different scenarios when you see a girl break up with someone and you know they're single because there's a fucking picture of them up every single week. That's validation seeking behavior. And although they might get
Yeah, I think we need to give more compliments just to people in general, because I think it's another over glorified thing of just doing it when somebody has this physical transformation, but just seems like I love it when clients get compliments from their spouses, partners, friends and all that, and because it kind of gives them the hype. It does, it helps encourage them that, you know what, this is right. But I always need to remind them, I was like, that's just a byproduct just now. You're not doing it to get the compliments, you're doing it for you. And that's probably the difference between me training for a bodybuilding show and then training for my wedding.
Compliments like they've went, oh, look at me doing this, then they've
that's what I mean, they just naturally get it.
Yeah.
But also that can be quite, oh fuck that, right, okay, I'm not getting compliments, I must not be good enough, because it's hard, isn't it? It's hard, but compliments can make or break your journey as well, because it encourages you to do it, and then they'll be like, you know what, I feel good, I don't care what people.
Right, how have you found the best, because you've got plenty of clients, you've done really well since you've started coaching, you've done well in person, you're doing well out here. How have you found the best way to promote your services and coaching without doing transformation pictures?
So a couple of different ways. I think everyone that kind of follows me online now knows that it's all about, it's never about how you look, but it's more how you feel. So that's what I'm always just communicating. So sharing clients' journeys with, right, okay, everybody, if I look at the space and my peers, it's all transformation pictures, and then there's a wee spiel under it, or such and such couldn't do this, but if I go, this person reverse type 2 diabetes, this person couldn't bend over and tie their shoes, this person couldn't pick up their kids, this person didn't have any energy whatsoever and couldn't walk through the doors of a gym. To me, just keep hammering that message. You'll attract an audience, because the thing is, like, some coaches maybe listeners and maybe like the idea of doing that, but if they look back at their feed, it's all with topless pictures or pictures of them in great shape and all that sort of stuff. So that's then going to attract a type of avatar that people will. Don't get me wrong, people came to me and was like, I want to look like you, and I was like, right, I'm not the coach for you if you want to get in great shape in the next 8 weeks. But I would always talk them around the conversation, and when you get down to the crux of it, it's like, why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to look in the shape? And usually the people that I worked with, if not all the time, it was because they weren't happy in how they felt. They wanted more energy, more confidence.
People always pin their unhappiness, especially if they're overweight, on their weight straight away, don't they? It's just that, or their weight or how they look. It's just like, I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I don't like the way I look.
You know, it's funny, it's just popped in my head. Coaches who are very for photo shoots are usually coaches that slag Slimming World. What is the difference? We're holding up a wee, I lost 5 kilos, or look at me at this great shape. It's a snapshot of a little moment that is pretty irrelevant. What happens 6 weeks after that? You know what I mean?
And very similar behaviours.
Mm-hmm. Very
avoiding
very.
food before the photo shoot. How is that much different than taking a shit before you stand on the scales?
Yeah.
Just as toxic, just in a different way.
Yeah, I'm always open to hearing the challenge, because I know, I just think, is there maybe something I'm missing? Because anytime I try and challenge my thought process, I'm like, nah. Even I got the photo shoot thing in here more for clothing brands and stuff like that to monetize the studio side of things. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, see if a coach came to me and said, I want to do a photo shoot with my clients, and I'll look at that photographer's page and they're airbrushing all their photos, I'm knocking them back, because I'm like, integrity wise, I have a very strong standpoint to go against this fucking wave of...
yeah, mate, I'm just... Morals are just... There's loads of stuff that just doesn't sit with me, and the the photo shoots is just as ever since I've started, I've just always went, it doesn't sit with me. And it's like you were saying as well, it's the glorify, like I hate seeing coaches were like, I can help you lose 5 kilos in 10 weeks and their fucking and their caption on their bio. What's that?
That must be a mentorship that's fucking
what the
pushed that
fuck
out.
is that?
lose 21 pounds in 20 days.
Aye, that bollocks.
Aye.
That's the same. That what? How's that better in Slimming World?
I know.
It's not. It's the same shit.
I think in a way it's all marketing, isn't it? It's marketing to get people in the door. And
But your marketing affects people.
I know.
Your marketing has a bigger impact than just you getting clients. Your marketing impacts the world.
Yeah.
Anyone who see it, it impacts how they think. So your marketing matters.
Yeah. So this is the biggest challenge for me in trying to attract more clientele. So if I cast my net out with my message just now, it's a smaller audience, just naturally does. Now, if I play into the insecurities of people wanting these big transformations, like I said, very rarely do I sit down and have a conversation with people and it's not actually about the looks, even though they think it's the looks. You know what I mean? So there's a big audience of people out there that we need to kind of start shuffling them through the way that we train and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, how do you even get them? So I don't know, I've been kind of on the fence with maybe putting out a marketing message, right? Going to run like a 14-day challenge where I'm going to show you how easy it is to lose weight, but within that, the framework is not about the weight. It's all about these other things. And I'm like, holy shit, that's right. But it all comes back to that wee fucking integrity piece. I'm like, does that actually help what I'm trying to do? And then I think, okay, that's 14 extra people that could come to me and change their lives that I might never have crossed paths with. Just like the guys who came to me.
I also find if you come at it that way though, it will be a much bigger challenge with those 14 clients. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like you might find it quite easy. Like your clients right now will be very open to your solutions because your branding and messaging has been the same. That's what I mean about the last 6 months, because I've been hammering home and I've been way more honest this year about everything. Like I'm just like, this is how I feel. No fucking shite at all. And I've found that my clients are a lot more on board with that. You still get one, and you will hear me because with you, I won't. One in like 30 will just be absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But most of the time now, I'm finding they're very on board with my messaging. And if I did post transformations, I think you would have a very hard. Because I remember, I posted one of my client transformation, and it was that long ago. I can talk about it. But her name is Kaz, and she was class client, but I reverse dieted her. It was more about building muscle, and I never posted that before. So she did look pretty different in the picture, but she got a shit ton stronger, and I posted it. And like 3 of her friends inquired and stuff, and her cousin inquired. Worst clients I've ever had. But they inquired off the transformation photo. So I think not being maybe with my skill set now, I was going to say I think
that's really the duty.
Have been difficult.
Yeah. I'm yet to actually knock back a client because I don't know. I feel a lot of people are crying out for help, and I think as coaches we sometimes can be the last straw. Like they've gave up on themselves almost.
I think not even just the last straw. I think we might be the first and last because there's no solution in the NHS. Yeah. There's no very hard to get therapy, very hard to get a good therapist. Like I think PTs are the most available source that people have to just try get their life a wee bit better.
Yeah. And the thing is, well, see me marketing from PT perspective, we are kind of told to play in insecurities. That's like marketing 101. Find the pain point and dig deeper into it. So if I'm saying on my social media, right, you fucking hate the way you look, guys, you got these man titties, you want to get rid of these man titties, then fucking come to me. That's going to get more attention than from the people. But then everyone's so fixated on look. So that's where you're marketing as a coach, like you said. You just need to stick by it. Might not get as much traction as you can, but that'll build momentum and it'll start to build an audience.
I get told by a business mentor to try get a picture of the client, whether it's like a progress picture just like before, or just like a picture where they're unhappy off them when I'm trying to sell them. Just like show me where you're at just now and I can show you where to improve to try push you on pain points.
Yeah.
And I think that might be marketing 101 when you're talking about a pain point that someone has where it takes them too long to do something through a business.
Yeah.
Like their pain point is like takes them 10 clicks.
Almost like sleazy car salesman marketing.
Aye, like when or like your car, the Bluetooth doesn't work and you've got a new car and the Bluetooth, like that's a pain point. I think the pain points when it comes to
it's emotional damage.
Yeah, pain points when it comes to our job, that type of marketing has a negative impact.
Oh yeah.
Well, like as in, like maybe it gets a client on, and if you're really good at your job, you can reverse the fucking fact you've made them feel awful. But surely the whole goal from the start should be making them feel good and welcomed, and like they can
inspired,
you.
Motivated. Like, oh my god, this is exciting. No,
like this person
I feel
cares
like shit,
about me and doesn't want me to feel bad.
I had a client feeling really sorry for not actually going ahead with a coach he was going to work with because he drilled so hard into the pain points, and she felt, she was like, I couldn't pay. It was like $2,500. She was like, I couldn't pay that up front, but he made me feel
that makes me so angry.
See the last thing on transformations that we not really spoke about? They are massively fabricated.
We haven't even touched that.
Hugely fabricated. See if it's not in the same space under the same lighting. In fact, it's something I'm going to do. I'm going to take a picture with me.
You've been saying this
first thing I know, and I've not even done it. I just can't be bothered doing it. But it's crazy how you can dramatically change the way. In fact, go back to one of the old podcasts I've done in this room and what these lights do to how we look sitting on a chair, never mind our tops off. Like the things that get so altered. And people have reached out to me and saying, oh yeah, I've worked with a coach, and he like even the integrity in what they write in the synopsis, and it's like such and such never went to the gym. They were struggling with consistency, and they're like, I was going to the gym all the time. And it's like, fuck me, man. Like, even the transformation pictures will look good. It's always half a story. So I'm not here to kind of slag them that, but you just need to be careful with what you consume. I think that's at the end of the day. You need to look at the coach and looking for a good amount of integrity in them, that you know they've got morals beyond try to fucking sleaze their way into
You're good.
coaching.
I don't tend to name people, but you like to love.
No,
you love a name drop. I won't name drop this person, but let's just say I went on with the most results-based coach in Scotland, and I heard from him 3 times in 12 weeks. And when you have 80 clients and you're getting all of them take progress pictures every week,
there's one diamond in the rough.
Yes. And you will be able to post pictures every week or every second week purely because you have a shit ton of clients who you're trying to starve. It's not that hard. Also,
see some of these transformation pictures, some coaches get credit for the transformation picture that they've had no part to play in. Like, it's been the 5 years prior to the fucking photo shoot of the years of muscle, the shape and sculpting. And if you're sitting with a wee bit more body fat and you get lean, you look pretty damn incredible. But it's not the 8 weeks, it's not the 12 weeks, it's the 5 fucking years of consistently training on the lead up to that.
One last one. And this is what 80% of the good transformation pictures are. If me or you, especially you because you're in better shape than me, but if you stopped training for 3 months, you got an injury, or you just went, fuck it, I'm not training for 3 months, you maybe put on half a stone, looked fluffy as fuck because you weren't training, and then you went, right, I'm going to get out of this rut, but I need to get a coach. You went to that coach, they had you training for 12 weeks, you lost that half a stone, you built back the strength you already had from fucking 10 years of lifting, you would make a ridiculous transformation, and that's what they play on. So someone who is already in good shape but just stops training for a while will look incredibly different in 12 weeks, and that is what they use all the time.
So that's what I mean. It's almost irrelevant that Disney. It's not the 12 weeks is going to make. Most people are attracted to that because, oh my God, look at how much they changed in 12 weeks. When the reality is, it's not the 12 weeks that actually got them to change. It's the previous 6 months or year of structure they built.
And the more extreme the weight loss in the picture, and especially if it's a play on how long it's took, will be a glorified phase of starvation. It'll be a glorified avoiding food. And the quicker that sort of happens, the worse your relationship with food will be, because you're just talking to a person who's getting you to avoid food and reinforcing that that's a good thing. So it's gonna be a bad thing for your relationship. That's one thing I'm going to do. So I want to see how lean can you actually get with a high reverse diet. So I've worked up to a pretty high amount of calories, and I never really tried to really
lean myself out, reducing my calories. I don't think I've actually went on a cut. I've just increased the sort of activity and the workouts that I've done just because I've not been consistent with it. But I'm interested to see what that does. But look, it's interesting to see how people can physically transform their bodies in 12 weeks and 8 weeks. And I'm always fascinated. I'm like, fucking hell, how have they done that? But then as a coach, there's a wee bit inside me. I'm like, am I a shit coach because I'm not getting these transformations? That's the other thing for coaches listening. Watch out for that, because it's not, they're just getting, like you said, it's a diamond in the rough. But
that's exactly why I went on with those two coaches. I went, how are they getting these results with people and I'm not? Whereas I was actually on the right track. I was actually doing the right thing. I didn't quite have the skill sets yet, but I was doing the right thing 90% of the time with clients. I just wasn't that good at my job yet, but I had the right idea.
Yeah.
And they actually gave me the wrong idea, but you know what? It reinforced that, oh fuck, when I felt what I felt with both of those coaches, Tony was actually like really, he actually really helped me as a coach with some things. Like really, like
there's always something to learn though, isn't it?
Not from the first one.
Oh really?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Shite. Tony, loads of positive. Like, it was an overall positive experience, not physically though, but like how
I showed you the side.
Like, I heard from him all the time, but he also helped me as a coach how to navigate conversations and stuff. But also, cause I spoke to him so much and I seen his clientele, I learned that my clientele was always going to be different, but I would also choose my clientele over his.
Yeah.
And it was a positive experience. I just shouldn't have been dieted that much.
Yeah. Nah, it's an interesting one. And it's probably a debate that we'll continue to have back and forth.
And I'll never change my stance, I don't think.
I'll struggle with it. I think we're one of the biggest transformation challenges in Scotland. The guy who runs that, MTN, I'd like to, he's a smart guy.
They all follow me now.
Aye, so they're like good people, and I follow a lot of the coaches as well. Like they're what they're doing, they're instilling, getting people lifting weights and all this. And then I'd love to just have the opposing argument back to me. So I just don't know what it is. I can't get my head around it. So it'd be interesting to see what they think.
I don't think they would be up for talking about those things just because
it affects their business.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea from a business standpoint for them. But there's 2 or 3 of them that follow me, and I've watched their stuff and they seem sound. I know I got a good idea if someone's a prick straight away. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, they go about it decent way. Lift weights. It's not about just starving yourself all the time. We try to increase food first, and so they talk about all the right things, and then a transformation picture's thrown up at the end of the day. But still, to me, it's not for me. Not for my style.
Oh, it never really sits right with me in any sort of way. Anyway, we'll call it there. What do we do? I want 12 minutes. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Right. Well, everyone knows you're fucking shit.
You know where to find us.
Catch us in a bit.